Hello and good evening, everyone. We are coming to you from the Capital Center as we get set for another presentation of Capital Comets men's basketball here on athletics.capital.edu. I'm Charlie Danis. Tonight it is the Marietta Pioneers who come a-calling tonight, taking on the Comets here in Bexley, Ohio. Well, Marietta has long been one of the top programs in the Ohio Athletic Conference. We are very accustomed to seeing the Pioneers near the top of the standings in the OAC, high-powered offenses, deep runs to the NCAA tournament, and so forth. But this year, Marietta has really come back down to earth, and I mean big time. A Pioneers team that we are often accustomed to seeing scoring in the high 80s, low 90s on a per-game basis. They have crash-landed to 76.6 points per game, which is a very low number considering the success that they have had within the past few years. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that this is a young team. Now, there are a few standout players on this team for the Pioneers this season. Chief among them, a very familiar face of the Capital program, that being David Sanford. David Sanford, a junior out of Springfield, Ohio. He played a couple seasons here at Capital before ultimately making the decision to transfer to Marietta. Leads this Pioneers team, averaging 12.2 points per game, shooting 41% from the field and 31% from three-point land. Another double-digit scorer that we will keep our eye on when it comes to the Pioneers is Levinson Xavier, a sophomore out of Naples, Florida, averaging 11 points per game, shooting 40% from the field and 32% from three-point range. And finally, Cooper Parrott, a 6'3 junior out of Willard, Ohio, averaging just under 11 points per game. He can hurt you from three. He can also hurt you from many spots on the floor. He's their third and final double-digit scorer for the Pioneers tonight. So we'll be keeping an eye on those three players as this evening progresses for Marietta. In the meantime, let's get you caught up with what has been happening with the Comets as of late. And it's been kind of a rough stretch for Damon Goodwin's crew after a Friday night win over Ohio Northern back on February the 3rd. Capital fell to Heidelberg by a final of 68-42. That was back on February 8th. And then they lost to number 4 Mount Union 73-61. Now, this is a top 5 team nationally, so Capital was really up against it. They were down by 22 at half. And Mount Union, from then on, was really able to cruise to this win, although it should be noted that Capital outscored Mount Union in the second half of that game by a score of 41-31. Colin Gurley was the one who led the Purple Raiders in scoring with 15 points. Daryl Newsom had 12. Braden Poole had 10 for the Purple Raiders. The leading scorer for Capital in that loss to Mount Union was Carter Combs. Combs finishing with 12 points. Shot 4 of 11 from the field, 4 of 6 from three-point land, so all 4 of his makes were from downtown, and he also tallied 4 assists and 8 rebounds as well. So with those two losses to the Student Princes and the Purple Raiders, Capital now sits at 7-9 within OAC play. That has them tied for 6th in the standings with Baldwin Wallace, who also has a similar 7-9 record within conference play. The top 3 in the OAC, well, it's been a pretty strong bunch. How about John Carroll? 21-2 overall, 15-1 within OAC play. It's been a fantastic year for the Blue Streaks. Right behind them is Mount Union. They've gone 21-2 overall. They've gone 14-2 within conference play. And then rounding out the top 3 in the OAC, a very fine season for Heidelberg. The Student Princes 16-7 overall, 11-5 within conference play. But the main thing that Capital is after tonight, at least it is a dream of theirs, it is still mathematically possible, is having that possible home game within the first round of the OAC tournament. Remember, the top 4 teams in the OAC standings are able to host a game to begin play in the Ohio Athletic Conference Tournament, which is right around the corner. In fact, that'll be starting up next week. So Capital trying to keep that alive. They enter play 2 games behind Marietta in the standings for that fourth and final top spot in the OAC standings. So if Capital were to get a win here tonight, they would keep that dream alive. They would pull to within one game of Marietta. Of course, Otterbein is right above Capital. They're 8-8 at the start of play tonight. The Cardinals 14-9 overall as well, which has been a much better record for the Cardinals this year compared to years past. Seems like that program is on the up and up. So Capital trying to get a conference win here tonight against a team that traditionally has been one of the tougher teams to pull off a win against, but maybe, just maybe, this could be the night that Capital can get the win against Marietta. Capital has one more game to finish off the regular season this weekend when they play host to Baldwin-Wallace. That game is scheduled for a 2 o'clock start, so we'll get things started with the pregame show that day at 1:50, but all eyes are on this game tonight as the Comets are trying to keep their hopes alive for a possible home game within the OAC tournament. If nothing else, they like to give themselves some momentum heading into the conference tournament, which again will be starting next week. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the national anthem, starting lineups, and the opening tip-off. Marietta, Capital, coming up next here on your home for Comets men's basketball, athletics.capital.edu. Welcome back to the Capital Center, everybody. Welcome into this presentation of Capital Comets men's basketball on athletics.capital.edu. Alongside Jonathan Brown, I'm Charlie Danis. Let's now get to tonight's starting lineups, beginning with the visiting Pioneers of Marietta. At guard, the 5'10 junior from Oak Harbor, Ohio, number 2, Jack Alexander. At guard, the 6'2 sophomore from Naples, Florida, number 11, Lovinson Xavier. At forward, the 6'5 senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, number 13, Brennan Crawford. Also at forward, the 6'7 sophomore from Boardman, Ohio, number 25, Ethan Anderson. And rounding out the starting five tonight for the Pioneers will be the 6'3 junior guard from Willard, Ohio, number 33, Cooper Parrott. The head coach of the Pioneers in his 16th year at Marietta, John Vanderwall. Now the starting lineup for the Comets of Capital. Making his first start, the 6' freshman guard from Ann, Ohio, number 0, McCain Finkenbein. At forward, the 6'7 sophomore from Ottoville, Ohio, number 5, Ryan Seaver. At guard, the 6'2 sophomore from Westchester, Ohio, number 13, Carter Combs. At forward, the 6'5 sophomore from Akron, Ohio, number 20, Dom Magerle. And rounding out the starting five tonight for the Comets will be the 6'5 sophomore forward from Minster, Ohio, number 42, Justin Nixon. The head coach of the Comets in his 28th year here at Capital, the legend, Damon Goodwin. Capital in their gray uniforms, Marietta in their dark navy blue uniforms. Our officials, Chuck Dockin, Justin Carr, and Ed Huey. Ball is put up in the air. The tip is won by Marietta. We're underway here at the Capital Center. And a steal as Magerle tries to save it in, but turns it right back over to Parrott. And now officials' time. Now there's a pause in the action. Looks like there was an issue with the shot clock. So now they have that figured out. It is inbounded to Alexander. Right wing, guarded by Finkenbein. Over to Xavier. Right wing, Xavier dribbling to his left, going down the lane. Tough jumper, can't get it to go. Battle for the ball, out of bounds, and they're going to give it to Marietta. Marietta entering tonight with a 14-9 overall record, 9-7 within OAC play. Good for fourth place within the conference. Capital 2 games behind that spot, as the three-pointer is no good. And it was going to be chased down by McCain Finkenbein. A whistle and a foul against Marietta. That's going to go against Brennan Crawford, his team's first.
This is a team that Capital is looking to bounce back here after facing a loss against Mount Union on the road. Trying to get back on track here. The fourth place isn't out of reach just yet.
At the very least, you like to be able to give yourself some momentum heading into the conference tournament, which will be taking place next week, as Dom Magerle was trying to split a couple of defenders, and now another foul called against Marietta, this time against Lovinson Xavier. That's his first, team second.
Marietta coming off of a victory against Wilmington. Blowout, I guess you could say. 94-60 was the final score.
Finkenbein bouncing it into Combs. Combs double team, gets out of it, over to Nixon, now to Seaver. Now in the hands of Finkenbein, right wing. 10 to shoot for Capital. Combs to Seaver. Seaver, 15-footer, no good. Tipped up in the air and eventually pulled down by Lovinson Xavier, the sophomore out of Naples, Florida. He'll bounce it over to Jack Alexander. Now it's back to Xavier, Crawford. Tough jumper. That's no good. Rebound taken by Nixon. He'll get it to Finkenbein, who will get it across half court. Finkenbein, right wing, surveys the defense before bouncing it over to Nixon. Nixon will now hand off to Combs. Combs, left wing. 16 to shoot for the Comets. Inside of the big man, Nixon. Nixon off the glass. No good. Batted around, and they'll give the ball to the Pioneers. Usually in that spot, Nixon is money right there, but that time, not so much.
Both teams are a little rugged here to start things off here, but each team looking for their first basket still.
18-20 remaining in the first half. Still a scoreless tie between both these teams. Layup, no good by Alexander, and then count the bucket and a foul as Ethan Anderson finally gets Marietta on the board. The foul will go against Ryan Seaver, his first, team's first. So heading to the foul line will be Anderson. He's a sophomore from Boardman, Ohio, which is very close to the Youngstown area.
Shoots 60% from the free throw line on the year.
Right-handed shooter, trying to complete the three-point play. It is up, and it is good for Anderson. So a 3-0 lead for Marietta. 18-10 remaining in the first half. Finkenbein putting a move on his man, drives towards the hoop, can't get it to go, and the rebound is taken by Marietta. Here comes Parrott the other way. He'll drop it off. They'll go inside, and Anderson scores on the other end. 5-0 in favor of Marietta.
A nice pass down low to the big man.
Very good piece of running the floor that time for the Pioneers. Out of bounds, and they'll give the ball to Capital as it was knocked out of bounds that time by Parrott. 17:44 remaining in the first half. Capital with a 7-9 record overall in conference play, 11-12 overall. So trying to get back to the 500 mark, but more importantly, as Jonathan mentioned, trying to keep hope alive for that fourth and final spot in the OAC standings that would allow them to have a home game in the first round of the OAC tournament next week. Nixon trying to back his man down on the left block, back outside. Combs lines up a three. That's no good. Tipped around, and Finkenbein comes away with it. Seaver, he'll let loose a three. That's no good. And they will say that it bounced over the backboard, and that'll give the ball to Marietta.
That was good hustle right there by Finkenbein, finding Seaver wide open in the corner, just unfortunately unable to cash in on that wide open shot.
Marietta 5, Capital 0, 17-15 to play in the first half. Jumper knocked down, and boy, what a start for Ethan Anderson. 7-0 in favor of Marietta. He's got all their points so far.
He's already beaten his average. He only averages 4 points per game.
Seaver, long jumper, and that's no good. The rebound is taken by Brennan Crawford of Marietta. Pioneers trying to improve upon their 7-0 lead here with 16:45 remaining in the first half. They'll go inside to the big man Anderson once again. Misses the shot. I guess he's human after all. Rebound Capital. Finkenbein to Magerle. Dom for three. That's no good. And the rebound, Nixon digs out an offensive board. Puts it back up and in. Nice move by the big man that time, and he'll go to the line for a three-point play opportunity.
That's just a glimpse, just letting you know how dominant Nixon can be down low. He's a physical. He doesn't have the height compared to most of the opponents we play in the conference, but that physicality, that adds a different factor for him, and you got to feed the big man.
Nate Gerber and Alex Iyek will check in for Capital. Ryan Roth will also enter the ball game for the Comets. Nixon comes in here averaging 7 points per game, 5.7 rebounds per game. He is shooting 62% from the foul line this season. The shot is up, and that's no good. As it bounces off the front rim.
That's the big man's kryptonite, the free throw line.
Lovinson Xavier feeds inside to Frank Wagenfield, and then a foul is called on the inside against Capital.
That'll be on Nixon.
That'll be his first, team second. So heading to the foul line once again is Ethan Anderson. And boy, he's gotten off to a great start here offensively. Had an and one earlier in the game. His first shot is up and is good. Griffin Dosick, meantime, checks in for Capital. And you made reference to this. His point total per game was so low, I didn't even bother putting it on my sheet. But so far, he is outperforming expectations as he makes the second free throw. 9-2 in favor of Marietta. 16:15 to go here in the first half. Just goes to show you, any given night, right?
Any given night.
Gerber dribbling around to his left. Hands off to Combs. Back to Gerber. Gerber lines up a three. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Marietta. Boy, a lot of one-and-done possessions so far offensively for Capital tonight. Alexander. Go over to Xavier. Inside now to Wagenfield. Wagenfield back outside to Xavier. Now they go back inside to Wagenfield with 12 to shoot. Hook shot, No good.
Clear elbow.
And that is going to be an offensive foul against Wagenfield, the sophomore out of Oregon, Ohio, his first, team's third.
Definitely brought that elbow up. I heard it.
Torin Lochow checks in for the Pioneers, junior out of Huntington, West Virginia, as well as Sami Willoughby, 6'3" senior out of Groveport, Ohio. 9-2 lead for the Pioneers, 15.5 to play in the first half. Dosick to Iyink, now to Combs. Now they'll go inside to Gerber near the right block. Couple of power dribbles. Gerber with a couple of head fakes. Finally puts a shot up, and oh no, was not able to get that one to go. It just didn't drop for him, and another rebound for Marietta. David Sanford. Hey, there's a familiar face for Capital. He played here for a couple years before transferring to the Pioneers. He's out there on the floor for Marietta right now.
The leading scorer for Marietta used to play for Capital.
Three-pointer on the way, and it's good for Sanford.
And he's showing out already.
And now a timeout. It's going to be taken by Capital. 14:51 remaining here in the first half. It's Marietta 12, Capital 2. And boy, a big reason why Marietta's leading this game tonight, Jonathan, has been the play of Ethan Anderson, a guy that really hasn't been counted upon as a big-time scorer this year.
Yeah, already doubling what he averages, averaging 3.6 per game. And he's coming here and figured out down low is going to be the way to get some points, and he's got them quick and efficiently, and he's also had opportunities to get them at the free throw line as well.
Taking a look at the team stats here. Marietta shooting 44% from the field. Capital only 1 of 10 from the field. That's good for only 10%. Capital has yet to hit a three-pointer. They've gone 0 of 3. Marietta not that much better, though, 1 of 3 from downtown. So Gerber getting set to inbound it here. He'll get it in to Iyink, the sophomore out of Maria Stein, Ohio.
I haven't called his name much recently.
Injuries have been plaguing Iyink all season long, but he's out there for Capital now. Dosick with a good head fake. Can't get the bucket to go, but a foul will be called against Wagenfield, and that's his second, team's fourth.
Let's see if Coach Vanderwall will keep him in there.
Meantime, Dosick will head to the free throw line. 66% shooter. It's up and no good. Substitution for Marietta. Coming in for the Pioneers will be the man with the hot hand, Ethan Anderson. Don Magerly also checks in for Capital. So one more free throw attempt for Dosick, the senior from Anna, Ohio, averaging 6.6 points per game, 5.6 rebounds per game as well. He'll split the pair, making the second. It's now a 12-3 game in favor of the Pioneers. Approaching 14.5 to play in the first half. Lochow driving off the glass, no good. Somehow gets his own offensive rebound back. Three-pointer on the way, and that switches through for Jaden Bradshaw, the freshman out of Blanchester, Ohio. And that hurts.
That hurts. You got to rebound that right there.
So now it's a 15-3 lead in favor of Marietta. 14:05 to play here in the first half. Dom trying to pass it inside, has it tipped away, almost a turnover, but Gerber saves it for Capital. Now it's Roth for three. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Marietta as Willoughby goes tumbling to the floor. Sanford over to Lochow. Lochow, left wing, now in the hands of Willoughby. Willoughby near the right wing. Now in the hands of Bradshaw. Bradshaw will try to drive. Baseline, and the reverse layup is good.
They deep in they bag already.
Marietta 17, Capital 3. And it's been a wide assortment of tricks so far offensively for Marietta tonight. 13-18 remaining here in the first half. Gerber for three. No good, and the rebound is taken by Sanford.
In and out.
Sanford. Jumper from the left point, and that will rattle home. Seems like everything that Marietta's putting up is going in. Seems like everything that Capital's putting up is not. And now a timeout will be taken. We'll take one as well. 13:02 remaining here in the first half. It's Marietta 19, Capital 3. here on athletics.capital.edu. Back here at the Capital Center, 13:02 remaining in the first half. Marietta leading Capital 19-3. And boy, Jonathan, it's deja vu all over. Kind of a similar start that Capital had against Mount Union the other night.
Yeah, and a tough one that they lost on the road against Mount Union. That was 61-73. Just a slow start for Capital, and they tried to come back late. It was 20-42 to close out the first half, and they had a second half rally that the damage had already been done.
Combs outside to Dosick, who will try to drive baseline, and he'll be called for a traveling violation.
But with this here, this matchup, Capital was able to steal one on the road against Marietta the last time that they played, but it was a closer first half matchup, that being 45-46 in the total right now. So Capital's got some work to do.
They got some major work to do here as they trail 19-3. Under 12.5 to play here in the first half. Sanford for three. That's no good. Tipped around, and Nixon comes away with it for Capital. Combs will pop a three. That's no good. Nixon with an offensive board trying to put it back up, and it's blocked from behind by Anderson, out of bounds, and it will stay with Capital. 17 to shoot.
That's a good hustle play by Nixon down low.
Finkenbein trying to inbound it from the baseline, gets it into Nixon just over the outstretched hand of Anderson. And Nixon turns it over. Quick hands there by Sanford. He's leading the break. Sanford almost double dribbled that time, but he was able to pull it out. And now Bradshaw will go inside to Anderson. Anderson off the glass, no good. Battle for the ball. Marietta gets it back, and then a slam by Willoughby.
Wow, with some authority.
Oh boy, not only does Willoughby get the offensive board, but he's able to put it back home with authority that time, and that kind of encapsulates how the first half has been going for both teams. Dom Meagerly making a three from the corner. A much-needed bucket for Capital.
Needed that to wake the offense up here.
Anderson trying to back Dosick down. Back outside. A little shimmy, and then a pass to the outside to Lochow. Lochow passing over to Sanford. Sanford dribbling to his right. A little crossover move. Sanford now back to Lochow. 5 to shoot for Marietta. Willoughby with a tough jumper blocked away by Nixon. And that will lead to a shot clock violation.
That was a good defensive stance right there for Capital.
Back in for Capital is Ryan Seaver. And then a line change seemingly here for Marietta. Lawrence and Xavier, Brennan Crawford back into the game. Jack Mame, we're going to see him for the first time tonight, the sophomore out of Winter Garden, Florida. And Brennan Crawford. Fresh bodies out there for Marietta. Oh, Jack Alexander's also out there too. 21-6. Marietta with a big lead, 11 minutes to go here in the first half. Seaver bouncing over to Meagerly. Meagerly splits two defenders, goes down the lane, and he scores.
Meagerly with some authority.
Nice move there by Dom Meagerly. 21-8 now. 10:40 to play in the first half. They'll go inside to Crawford. Crawford puts it up. No good. Rebound taken by Seaver. Here comes Capital the other way. Finkenbein to Seaver. To Combs. Combs dribbling to his right. Combs will go down the lane, and he will score. And now a timeout's going to be taken by Marietta head coach John Vanderwald. Not liking what he saw from his defense those last couple of possessions. Still a big lead for Marietta, 21-10. With 10:25 to go in the first half, but you really gotta like what you see offensively from Capital, especially those last two possessions. Easy buckets by Combs and Magerle.
Those last two possessions show the explosiveness and the efficiency that Capital has within Magerle and Crawford as well. Those two are two key component scorers for this team here. And going back to their win versus Marietta, Combs had 15 in that, and Magerle was just shy of hitting a double-digit figure. He finished with 9, but those two players were key factors in that win against Marietta on the road. But also to shout out the bench as well. Capital in that victory, they had a total of 6 scorers in double-digit figures, so hopefully they can get some help outside of those two players.
21-10 in favor of Marietta, 10:20 to play in the first half. Alexander bouncing over to Crawford. Crawford dribbling to his left. Back over to Alexander on the left wing. Alexander trying to get a screen. He'll now try to drive, and now a little kick to Parrott. Parrott, he'll now try to go inside. He's still dribbling around near the left point. Back outside to Xavier. 5 to shoot for the Pioneers. Xavier hoists a 3. That's an air ball, and the rebound is taken by Seaver.
Somebody close the window.
Finkenbein to Seaver to Magerle. Nixon calling for the ball, but instead a pass over to Finkenbein. 18 to shoot. Finkenbein lost his footing, and then a foul, I believe, is going to be called there. The foul is going to go against Cooper Parrott, his first. Team's 5th. Finkenbein will inbound it from the baseline. McCain getting it in successfully to Nixon. Now to Magerle. Magerle near the top of the arc. Now back to Finkenbein. McCain will now back it out. Finkenbein double teamed. Gets out of it. Now trying to pass it over to Nixon, but Nixon wasn't expecting the pass that time as he got tangled up with Brennan Crawford. That's a turnover for Capital.
Miscommunication. If you're now just joining us and you haven't realized, Finkenbein is stepping into this full starting role today as the lead point guard. So it's different knowing that, you come off the bench trying to be that accelerator, but now you have to be the floor general now.
As a freshman, no less. Passed over to Xavier. Now inside to Crawford. Crawford blocked away by Nixon. A ferocious block that time by Justin Nixon. Seaver, right wing. Dribbling to his right. Hands off to Magerle. Magerle to Combs. Combs, deep 3. That's way off the mark, and the rebound is taken by Xavier of the Pioneers. Over to Alexander. Alexander driving in and turns it over. Had no plan with the ball once he went up in the air. Seaver down the lane. Gets it to go. And how about this mini rally here for Capital? They have now cut it to 9, 21-12. About 8.5 to play in the first half.
Doing a good job defensively here. Marietta hasn't scored in the last 3 minutes.
Deep 3 for Parrott, and he knocks it down. That is Steph Curry range right there.
And as I say that, it's a deep one.
24-12 now in favor of Marietta. 8:15 to play in the first half. Finkenbein down the lane, and a foul will be called against Jack Main. He's a sophomore out of Winter Garden, Florida. That's his first, team 6.
Addison Finkenbein to the line and on the year. He's actually the best free throw shooter here on Capital, shooting 92% from the line.
A freshman out of Anna, Ohio. And he misses the first. Anderson checks in for Marietta. Dosick back in for Capital as Nixon will get a much-needed breather. Also Ryan Roth in for the Comets. So one more free throw attempt for Finkenbein. Averaging 4.5 points per game. As the second free throw's no good. So a guy shooting 92% from the line goes over. Very surprising right there. Parrott to Anderson. Now in the hands of Alexander. Alexander, double teamed, dribbles out of the double team. Over to Main, and Main knocks it down from the free throw line.
That was a nice dish and assist right there from Anderson.
26-12. Marietta with the lead. 7:42 left to play in the first half. Finkenbein to Roth. Bounced over to Seaver. Now to Combs. Back to Roth. Now to Combs on the right wing. 12 to shoot. Combs Marietta's bench thought he should have been called for a walk. Dosick, he'll now try to drive the lane. Hoists a tough jumper. That's no good. The rebound taken by Maine of the Pioneers. Maine, he'll line up a three, and he'll knock it down.
She was letting him walk into it.
29-12. That's about as fluid a three-pointer and on time in rhythm as you will see.
Man, she was 38% from behind the arc.
6:57 to play in the first half. Marietta 29, Capital 12. Inside now, Dosick will go up strong and got rejected that time by Xavier. A near turnover there for Alexander, but now he gets it across half court for Marietta. Now it's to Parrott. They go inside of the big man Anderson, and a foul will be called on the inside against Capital. It's going to go against Dosick. That's his first, team's third. Gerber now checks in along with Iyink and Nixon, Sanford, Lochow, and Jane Bradshaw also check in. Sanford trying to inbound it for Marietta. Almost a 5-second violation there, but gets it into Anderson. Nearly lost by Bradshaw, but he's able to save it. Now in the hands of Sanford. Under 6.5 to play. Marietta 29, Capital 12. Sanford, really tough shot. And the rebound taken by Capital. Iyink to Roth as Iyink slipped to the floor. Gerber, couple power dribbles. Inside, Nixon can't get the reverse layup to go, but gets his own miss. Back outside to Combs. Inside to Iyink, a little kick. Gerber, three, no good. Rebound taken by Marietta.
That was good ball movement for the team, though.
Lochow has it poked away by Nixon. Nearly lost it. Then he throws it off the leg of a jumping Nixon that time. Heady play right there by Lochow, as Marietta will keep possession.
Good IQ right there.
Inbounding it in front of the scorer's table is Jaden Bradshaw. Attended Fayetteville Perry High School during his prep days. Now a collegiate as a freshman. And the three-pointer off the mark for Marietta, but stolen away by Bradshaw, and then Anderson misses his shot, and then a late foul called against Nixon.
That was a late whistle right there.
And that's unfortunate for Capital, too. That's the second foul against Nixon, team's fourth. So now Anderson will head to the free throw line. He was the man that got off to the fast start for Marietta, and he already has a chance to become the first double-digit scorer of the night for the Pioneers. Right now he's stuck on 9 points, but he can certainly change that with these free throws. The first shot is up, and that's no good. So he'll have to wait a little bit. In the meantime, Marietta making a substitution as Sami Willoughby, checks back into the game. One more free throw attempt for Anderson. Shoots just over 60% from the free throw line. Shot is up, and that's good. So now give him 10 points as he will exit the game. Wagenfield, meantime, checks back in for the Pioneers. 29-12. 5:37 to play here in the first half. Marietta with the lead. Roth double teamed. Trying to dribble out of it. Now over to Gerber. Gerber, top of the arc. He'll hand off to Combs. Combs back inside. Gerber able to finish at the rim. Nice give and go action right there.
That's a nice ball movement from Capital right here. They finally ended their little drought here. They were scoreless for the last 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Marietta 30, Capital 14. 5:10 remaining in the first half. And now a traveling violation will be called against Sanford as Iyink was doing a nice job there defensively. Gerber will inbound it to Iyink. Leading scorer for Capital right now is Don Magerle. He's got 5. And nice dish inside as Nixon is able to finish. The ball movement has really picked up for Capital these last couple of possessions.
Now they're slowly bringing down this lead here. Like you said, chop it down. Double-digit, 10 points, 5 points.
Bradshaw, jumper. That's no good. Tipped around, rebound taken finally by Combs. Combs, cross half court, pushes ahead. Iyink, 3, no good. Tipped around and finally grabbed by Bradshaw. Here comes Marietta the other way. Sanford down the lane. And can't get the bucket to go, but he did get fouled.
I think that'll be on Nixon. If that's his third, we have a problem.
Dosick and Magerle getting set to check in. And indeed will be on Nixon. That is his third, team's fifth.
That is trouble to close out here this half. So, looks like a good win to have him sit here for the rest of this half.
Meantime, David Sanford will head to the free throw line for Marietta. One-time player here at Capital, junior out of Springfield. 72% free throw shooter. It's up and it's good. As Dosick and Magerle check in for Capital. Nixon, because of the foul trouble, is going to have to sit. Combs will also take a breather as well for the Comets. One more free throw attempt for Sanford. He's 6-foot junior. And it is up and good. 4.5 to play in the first half. Marietta 32, Capital 16. Dosick to Magerle. Magerle picked up defensively by Willoughby. Almost a turnover, but Capital keeps possession. Shot fake. Gerber goes in. Jumper. No good. Rebound taken by Marietta, although it was nearly picked away by Iyink. Lochow. Now it's passed all the way around to Bradshaw. Bradshaw will go inside. The big man, Wagonfield, losing it out of bounds, but it went off a Capital player. So Marietta will maintain possession here as a substitution will be made by the Pioneers. Cooper Parrott, junior out of Willard, Ohio.
Surprised Marietta has had the hot hand to get things off, but they kind of simmered down, and Capital is rallying back here just a tad bit. If Capital can find that momentum again here to kind of get in the swing of things.
Parrott in the corner, hoists a jumper. That's no good, and nearly gets his own offensive board, but instead Capital comes away with a defensive rebound. Iyink to Magerle. Gerber swings it around to Roth. Roth double teamed. Gets out of it. Dosick to Iyink. Iyink to Gerber. Inside, lost it, out of bounds, and they're going to give it to Marietta. Combs will go back in for Capital. Meantime, Anderson and Xavier back into the game for Marietta. And Seaver and McCain-Finkenbein will also check in for Capital. So both teams getting some fresh legs out there on the court as we got 3:36 remaining in the first half. Marietta 32, Capital 16. Sanford picks up his dribble, eventually passes over to Xavier on the right wing. To Willoughby, now to Parrott. Parrott driving in and gets it to go.
Put the shoulder down and went to work.
34-16. Marietta with the lead. 3:10 left to go in the first half. Finkenbein to Seaver. Over to Magerle. Dom double team, dribbles out of it. Dom now trying to do a little spin move. Back outside. Finkenbein thought about a three. Now back outside. Combs, trifecta. No. Rebound taken by Marietta. Sanford will bring it across half court for the Pioneers. Over to Parrott. Parrott passing off to Xavier. Over to Anderson. Now to Sanford. Sanford right wing. Goes inside of the big man Anderson. Anderson back outside to Parrott for three. Rattles in and out. Finkenbein with the rebound for Capital. Ahead to Dosick. Dosick makes the catch. Spin move. Can't get it to go. But a foul will be called against Sami Willoughby. His first, team seventh.
Able to draw the foul there. Good job by Dixon. Using his body to draw the foul here as that sent him to the free throw line. It's already 1 for 2. This is his second attempt at the free throw line tonight.
Senior from Anna, Ohio. First shot is up and good. Substitution for Marietta now as Jack Main, the sophomore out of Florida, will check back into the game for the Pioneers. One more free throw attempt upcoming for Dosick. It is up, and it is good. 34-18. Marietta with the advantage. 2:15 left to play in the first half. Xavier over to Parrott. Parrott Bouncing it in, and it is off the glass and good for Jack Main.
I got to applaud Parrott. That was a phenomenal pass right there. Mid-air bounce pass, down to the big man. Easy low block score.
And a nice finish that time by Main as Finkenbein passing it over to Seaver. Over to Dosick. Back outside, and now a foul will be called on the inside against Marietta. This is going to result in free throws for Capital.
I believe that's on Lovinson Xavier.
Actually, they're going to save Jack Main, his second. Team's 8th. 1-1 for Dosick. First shot is up and good.
Team's 8th. Surprisingly, they're in this foul trouble here for Marietta, spreading it amongst their team, but they still to the top with a nice lead here.
One more free throw for Dosick. It's up, and it's good. The lead is now 16 in favor of Marietta, 36-20. 1:45 left to play in the first half. Parrott dribbling around, got out of a double team to Main. Now back to Parrott, top of the arc. And now looks like an offensive 3 seconds called against Marietta. This will give Capital the ball back here with about a minute and a half remaining.
Both teams with 5 turnovers apiece here, so we'll see if Capital can capitalize on that turnover.
Finkenbein to Combs. Now to Magerly, back to Combs on the right wing. Combs to McCain Finkenbein. Finkenbein inside. Dosick almost fumbled that one away, but then Combs gets the ball and scores.
That was a good play set up by there. I don't know, Coach Goodwin drew that up, but that's a good play right there.
Marietta 36, Capital 22. Finkenbein with a steal. McCain trying to lead the break to the rack, and he scores.
Attaboy.
Big play made there by the freshman from Anna, Ohio. 36-24 in favor of Marietta. 43 seconds to go in the first half.
If they're able to close out here with a stop.
Three-pointer off the mark by Sanford. Tipped around. Marietta gets it, but then there's a loose ball. Seaver dives upon it, and a jump ball is going to be called.
Capital possession. Arrow facing in our direction. Now, if Capital is able, right now it's a 12-point lead for Marietta, but they're able to get this down to 10, or at least I want to say the 10 or underneath 10 before going into halftime. That's an amazing turnaround because they were down bad in this to start the half off, but you're able to close things out here with 31 seconds left. That's a good way to go into halftime.
Give yourself some momentum. 31.3 seconds to go in the first half. Marietta 36, Capital 24. McCain Finkenbein. Cross half court. 18 to shoot for the Comets. Finkenbein being picked up by the former Comet, David Sanford. Now to Seaver. Back to Finkenbein. McCain for 3. That's no good, and the rebound is taken by Marietta. 2 seconds, 1 second. Parrott will hoist a 3. That's off the mark, and that's how the first half will end. Marietta 36, Capital 24. That's their score at halftime. Coming up, we'll check scores around the OAC, around Division I men's basketball, and more. Again, the score at the half, Marietta 36, Capital 24. This is Capital Comets men's basketball on athletics.capital.edu. 36-24. Marietta with the lead at the half. Alongside Jonathan Brown, I'm Charlie Danis. This is a presentation of Capital Men's Basketball. Athletics.capital.edu. So that's the score for our game. Let's get you updated with other scores around the OAC as we have entered the final week of the 2022-2023 regular season. Next week, the OAC tournament will be held with the teams with the 4 best records in the conference hosting home games to begin that conference tournament. Other games going on. It's been a better season this year than in previous years for Otterbein as the Cardinals are looking to improve upon their 14-9 overall record. Right now, they lead Wilmington in their game 43-39. Other games taking place. Mount Union, a team that's absolutely rolling, top 5 nationally. They lead Muskingum 48-32. About half a minute remaining in the first half of that game. John Carroll's also been pretty impressive. Although, how about this? Trailing Baldwin Wallace 50-38 at halftime. That's really surprising right there.
Hey, it's the final stretch here of the regular season, and you're going to see some teams out here trying to compete like it's the playoffs.
Leading scorer for Baldwin Wallace, and that one is Anthony Mazzeo. He's got 17 points for the Yellow Jackets. Remember, it is Baldwin Wallace who Capital will take on Saturday afternoon, and, of course, we'll have that game for you here at athletics.capital.edu. And our final score to pass along to you, Heidelberg, another team that's had a pretty good year within the OAC. They lead Ohio Northern 40-24 at the break. Couple scores involving top 25 teams in Division I men's college basketball as we are rapidly approaching March Madness. How about this, Donnybrook, in the SEC? 10th-ranked Tennessee leading top-ranked Alabama. Yes, you heard that right. The Alabama Crimson Tide, not only really good at football, but also really good at basketball as well. The Vols lead the Crimson Tide in that one, 26-22, with about 3.5 to play in the first half. Boy, wouldn't that be something if Alabama was a number 1 seed? Boy, the rich just keep on getting richer down there, don't they?
Hey, don't get me started.
Elsewhere around the country, how about this? 7th-ranked Virginia leading Louisville 29-26 with 16 seconds to go in the first half. It has been an absolutely miserable season for the Cardinals. 3-22 overall, 1-13 with an ACC play. They have a first-year head coach in Kenny Payne, but still, that is not what we're accustomed to seeing from Louisville basketball.
I know, and they may not even make the March Madness tournament. I'm also surprised. I believe it's UK. They might not even make it as well.
Kentucky has been a bubble team. Duke hasn't really been all that impressive. North Carolina, they've been teeter-tottering that line. Should be very interesting by the time we get to March Madness. Good one brewing in the Big East. 11th-ranked Marquette trailing 16th-ranked Xavier 26-24 as they're just about to go to halftime in that game. Other games involving top 25 teams coming up later on tonight. 14th-ranked Indiana will hit the road. They'll be at Northwestern, playing the Wildcats beginning at 9 p.m. 22nd-ranked Texas Christian, they'll be on the road as well. They'll be at 19th-ranked Iowa State. That game is scheduled for a 9 o'clock start. And then coming up at 11 p.m. over on the West Coast, 21st-ranked San Diego State will make the trek to Fresno State to take on the Bulldogs. Let's now take a look at the stats from our game. We begin with the team statistics. Marietta simply shot the ball better than Capital. The Pioneers shooting 41% from the field, Capital only 29%. Neither team has really distinguished itself from long range. Marietta, 4 of 14 from three-point land, good for only 29%, but Capital, it's been a miserable night for the Comets when it comes to shooting from downtown, only 1 of 12, good for only 8%. 6 of 7 from the foul line for Marietta, that's good for 86%. Capital, meantime, 5 of 9 at the Cherry Stripe, good for only 56%. Double the rebounds for Marietta. They have out-rebounded the Comets 24-17. Other team statistics of note. Assists, Marietta 6, Capital 5. Turnovers, Marietta 7, Capital 5. Bench points, big-time advantage for the Pioneers. They got 21 compared to only 7 for Capital. Blocks, Capital 2, Marietta 1. Fast break points, Capital 4, Marietta 2. Steals, Capital 3, Marietta 2. Points off turnovers, Capital 10, Marietta 4. Points in the paint, Capital 16, Marietta 12. And finally, second chance points, Marietta 9, Capital 2. Now on to the individual statistics. Here's Jonathan.
Taking a look, I think you kind of said it best. When a team is shooting 40% compared to 29, there's going to be a whole lot looking at the scoreboard. But it's only an 8-point game here. So, 12. My math was off looking at that. But leading scorer for Marietta, Ethan Anderson, with 10 points, 3 of 6. He's already gone above and beyond his average. He averages 4 points per game, so he's already doubled that. Right behind him, Jack Main with 7 points, and he's perfect from the field. 1 3-pointer, 3 of 3 from that. And then right behind him, the man returning back to Capital for his first time in the opposing jersey, David Sanford, has 7 of his own, and he's trying to go in his bag. 2 of 5 from the field, just the other shots just aren't falling. Aside from that, Ethan Anderson is trying to do it all. He is the leading rebounder with 3 rebounds for Marietta, as well as Cooper Parrott has 3, and so does Sammy Willabau has 3 as well, and Torin Lockchild has 3. On the defensive end, you got a few steals here and there, and Ethan Anderson, we're going to keep calling his name, or hopefully I don't keep calling his name, but he's doing what he's supposed to do. He has a block party as well for the Pioneers. Taking a look at Capital in the comments to see how high they are soaring, and right now they just aren't picking up much heat, but they're still in it. It's far from over. Their 2 leading scorers are Don Megerly and Griffin Dosick with 5 apiece. Surprisingly, Dosick has not had to hit a shot yet. He's earned all those 5 points from the charity stripe. Right behind him, Carter Combs and Justin Nixon with 4 points apiece. And be careful, Nixon is in foul trouble as we get ready for the second half here. Leading rebounder for Capital is Nixon, leading with the steal the component in the defensive aspect. Fickenbein, Combs, and Megerly have a steal, but leading the way with a block party, not just 1, but 2. Justin Nixon has 2, and that kind of wrap up the individual stats here during halftime.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, the start of the second half between Marietta and Capital. It's Marietta leading Capital 36-24 coming out of the break. This is your home for Capital men's basketball, athletics.capital.edu. Just about to start the second half of this game. Marietta leading Capital 36-24 coming out of halftime. Want to remind you folks that our final regular season game is coming up on Saturday afternoon when Capital plays host to the Yellow Jackets of Baldwin Wallace. That'll also be senior day as well. That game is scheduled for a 2 o'clock tip, and we'll get things started with a short pregame show beginning at 1:50 that afternoon. We hope that you will join us for that presentation of Capital Comets men's basketball here on athletics.capital.edu.
That'll actually be a double header, so it'll be the men's and women's senior. And just like they're playing Marietta, the women's are playing Marietta as well, and they're currently down 18-36 as they had just started the second half as well.
Lovinson Xavier getting the scoring party started for Marietta here in the second half with a driving layup. How has the women's team been doing lately?
They're kind of just like the men's. They're hitting this second half slump, and hopefully they can bounce back.
McCain Finkenbein knocks it down from the corner.
Man, that's how you start the half off.
McCain Finkenbein showing some good things in that first half for Capital. 38-27 now in favor of the Pioneers. Twisting, turning. Anderson flips it up and in, as Anderson continues to improve upon his impressive scoring total.
Started off hot. We'll see how he'll start this second half.
40-27 in favor of Marietta. 19:02 remaining in the second half. Goes inside. Nixon able to finish.
It's a good pump fake right there.
And Nixon's got to be careful as he's already playing with 3 fouls. 40-29. Marietta with the lead. 18:45 left to play here in the second half. Crawford, top of the arc, goes inside, but Seaver's able to steal it away and save it into Magerle. Now it's Finkenbein bringing it across the timeline. McCain with a little bit of a move. He'll go down the lane and score, and now a timeout's going to be taken by Marietta head coach John Vanderwall, who is clearly not liking what he is seeing from his defense to start this second half.
Number 0 turned hero, that boy Finkenbein, in his first debut starting in the lineup here, and it looks like he's kind of picking up rhythm here. And we've seen a flash earlier in the first half, him just drive into the hole, and he did a good job of protecting the ball as well. And I feel like Capital's got a strong suit of doing that. And I feel like they can attack the hole here and get some things stirring. It's already a 9-point deficit, so they've gotten rid of the double-digit factor here, and this game is far from over.
Finkenbein exchanging slaps with Carter Combs. We've made this comment about Combs, and I think the same can be said about Finkenbein. Not afraid to go to the hoop, not afraid to go in between the trees to try to get 2 points. Finkenbein playing aggressive, but in a good way here tonight. 40-31 in favor of Marietta. 18:23 to go. And now a defensive foul is going to be called against Capital. Looks like it's going to go against Finkenbein. So that'll be his first, team's first of the half. Alexander will inbound it. He'll get it into Parrott. Parrott jumper, swishes through.
Capital's got to figure out how they can get a full-length defensive stand. They're able to make some stops here and there, but if they're able to be consistent with it.
Finkenbein over to Combs. Stop, score. Stop, score. That's what's going to need to happen for Capital to get back into this game. Magerle for 3. That's no good, and the rebound taken by Brennan Crawford, the senior out of Pittsburgh. He is steel tough. As that three-pointer off the mark, Alexander wanted a foul that time, so was Vanderwall, but he does not get the call from the officiating crew. Combs throws it out of bounds. Trying to pass it over to McCain Finkenbein. That was a classic case of one player expecting another player to zig when really he zagged.
Those are the ones that's like, okay, you're making me look silly.
My bad, bro. 42-31 in favor of Marietta. 17:35 to play in the second half. Crawford twisting, turning, finally gives off to Xavier. Xavier, he'll now try to drive down the lane. Good defense by Nixon. Fall away shot, no good by Xavier. Great defense by Nixon. A rebound by Capital. Combs trying to push. Seaver thought about a 3. He'll now drive in. Magerle, he thought about a 3 with a little pump fake. Lost it out of bounds. It'll stay with Capital. Speaking of Capital, they'll make a substitution. Dosick in for the Comets.
I was tipped by Crawford, and Capital get an opportunity to do an out-of-bounds play here to turn up some points.
Magerle will inbound it from the far side. Dom gets it into Dosick. Now it's over to Combs inside. Dom can't get it to go, but he did get fouled. Foul will go against Ethan Anderson. His first, team's first.
Surprisingly, his first, but I just love the hustle I'm seeing here from Magerle. You know it's going to take a lot more than per usual to keep them in this matchup here, and he's figured out a way to draw a foul and get to the free throw line.
He's got 5 points so far tonight. Right-handed shooter. First shot is up and good. That's never a question when it comes to Dom's game. He always brings the energy, always bringing the hustle, trying to make a play for his team, whether it be on the offensive or defensive end.
Surprisingly, as a 54% shooter, he gets the first one to fall.
Second free throw is good as well.
I guess it's the 3-4. I guess you expect you to still have a good free throw percentage. But
as the layup is good by Jack Alexander, junior out of Oak Harbor, Ohio. 11-point lead for Marietta. And now a foul is going to be called against Jack Alexander. That's his first, team second. Capital doing a nice job of scoring. It's just that they need to get more stops in order to keep this rally going, to draw ever closer to Marietta.
They're doing a good job of being able to create and find their way to the hole here, but if they're unable to make some stops, they won't be able to stop the bleeding.
Seaver, top of the arc. Over to Combs. Combs right wing. Combs bouncing it over to Seaver. Now to Magerly. 5 to shoot. Somebody's got to think about shooting here. Seaver can't receive the pass. Gets it back, and they can't get it off in time, as that'll be a shot clock violation.
The shot clock didn't change because Marietta never fully gained possession of the ball. So if they would have make a few dribbles out, and then Capital would have stole the ball, the shot clock would have reset.
They probably would have been better off hoisting a 3 that time instead of forcing the pass inside to Seaver, as a foul will be called against Capital on this end. It'll go against Iank, his first, team's third. And now the entire second line for Marietta comes in. Oh boy. David Sanford, along with Jaden Bradshaw, also Frank Wagonfield, and Sami Willoughby, and Torin Lochow. Hey, look at that. I got all of them. Sanford trying to drive. Off the glass and good. Nice drive that time by David Sanford, the former Capital player.
That was a nice fillet.
Kiss off the glass. 46-33 in favor of Marietta. 15:58 to play here in the second half. Magerly driving. Dom can't get it to go with the left hand, but he did get fouled.
I just want to say that was a nice Euro right there. He really took some steps like a Martian man and was in the air for a little bit, unable to close out, but he gets to the free throw line.
Willoughby with the foul, his second, team second, and to cap it all off, a potential George Gervin-like finger roll. Iceman special.
You don't see that often.
Magerly's first shot is good. Gerber will now check in. Seaver will check out for Capital. One more free throw attempt for Dom. Looking to make it 9 points for the game. It's up and it's good. 46-35. Lead for Marietta's 11. 15:50 to play in the second half. Lochow nearly stolen away by Dom, and he'll be whistled for a foul right there.
It's only his first.
Team's fourth. And you can't really fault Dom there, just trying to make a play there defensively.
No, it looks like these fouls are picking up. You know, you're approaching that bonus area. Not just quite yet, but that's only their fourth. Is it a fourth or third?
Sanford. I have fourth for Capital as the three-pointer is knocked down. That's Levinson Xavier who makes the play there for the Pioneers, 48-35. Pass inside to Dosick, back outside Gerber with a little pump fake. Now to Dom. Dom tries to split two defenders, and a foul is going to be called against Marietta. The foul will go against Willoughby, his third, team's fifth. Actually, I take that back, team's fourth. Must have miscounted there. Magerly, meantime, will inbound it just about right in front of Capital assistant coach Anthony Golson, who's been here for a long, long time. Magerly for three. No good. Tapped out, though. Combs, he'll try a three. No good. Tipped around. Sanford finally gets it for Marietta. And then a foul's going to be called against Brandon Iank, as it looked as though at first that Sanford had dribbled it out of bounds. Iank was defending on the play. What do you think?
He tried to set that wall to get him to go out, so that would be a clear blocking foul. When it's close to the line, you try to lean your body up against him to try to give him that extra little push, and the ref noticed it, called the foul.
Roth will check in for Capital, as they will mop up that part of the floor just to be sure. 15:05 remaining here in the second half. Marietta 48, Capital 35. The Comets are within striking distance. It's just that they haven't been able to make enough stops to get this to single digits. Sanford, long jumper, and it knocks it down. Sanford's starting to take over a little bit.
Yeah, we got to figure out a way to stop that.
50-35 in favor of Marietta. Gerber, little hook shot, no good. Rebound taken by Bradshaw. Marietta coming the other way. Bradshaw across the timeline, now in the hands of Lochow. Lochow double teamed, almost lost it. Recovers, gets it over to Wagonfield. Wagonfield looking for some help. Finally gets it over to Bradshaw. 12 to shoot for the Pioneers. Sanford's now got the ball. Sanford's going to drive on in, and he will lay it up and in with the left hand.
Make it easy for him.
How many times did we see moves like that during his time here at Capital?
Too many.
52-35, 14-10 remaining here in the second half as Marietta continues to enjoy a comfortable lead. Roth to Dosick. Now it's Dom. Back to Dosick. Griffin. Pump fake, and he gets it to go. And now a timeout is going to be taken by Capital. We'll step aside as well. 13:54 remain in the second half. The score, Marietta 52, Capital 37 on athletics.capital.edu. $13:54 left to play in the second half. Marietta leading Capital 52-37. Tom Magerle has had a nice game for Capital. He's got 9 points. Marietta's leading scorer, meantime, is David Sanford. He's got 15. Speaking of Sanford, lost his footing. He'll be called for a traveling violation, and that'll be a turnover for the Pioneers. Sanford, 15 points, has shot 6 of 9 from the field and 1 of 3 from three-point land as well. Iank, meantime, will drive in. Can't get the bucket to go, and the rebound is taken by Wagonfield of Marietta. Jack Main will take it across the timeline. Now it's back in the hands of Sanford. Sanford. Step back three. Knocks it down as he looks towards his family and friends in the stands. And
they're going to call a tech on that.
They're going to call a technical against David Sanford.
See, they do this in the NBA, so at least I know they do it at the NCAA level.
Well, okay, so I'll go back to that play. It wasn't like he was taunting Capital. He was yelling towards friends and family.
He looked towards his bench, his own bench.
Yes. For the life of me, I don't understand why that's a technical. It's not like he directed that at Capital as Roth knocks down the technical free throw.
Hey, if I'm seeing it at the NBA level, hey, at least I know it's trickling down here. So,
as the second free throw is made by Roth.
We'll take the points, though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll take any breaks that we can get. Sanford, meantime, now with 18 points. Came in here averaging 12.2.
Had a quiet first half and just explosive.
He has definitely awakened here in the second half. 13-15 remain in the second half. Marietta 55, Capital 39. Magerle to Nixon. Now in the hands of Roth. Roth near the left wing, now to Seaver. Seaver to Finkenbein on the right wing. Finkenbein, double teams, passes out of it. Magerle to Nixon. 9 to shoot for Capital. Nixon Trying to back his man down to the left block. Turnaround jumper, no good on the rebound taken by Marietta. Sanford, the man with the hot hand, crosses half court. Now in the hands of Lo Chow, excuse me. Sanford thought about another step back three, but instead passes it to Wagonfield. Now over to Lo Chow. Back to Wagonfield. Wagonfield twisting, turning off the glass. No good. Rebound taken by Seaver. Seaver might have gotten hit in the nose right there as he was checking for blood. Magerly, double teamed, passes out of it. Seaver inside to the big man Nixon. Nixon near the left block. Couple power dribbles, back out to Seaver, who nearly lost it. 12 to shoot for the Comets. Magerly to Roth. Now to Finkenbein. McCain for three. That's no good. Batted around. And the rebound taken by Marietta. And now Nixon has gone down in a heap. He is on his hands and knees as he's trying to get to his feet. And it looks like he got poked in the eye as he's squinting big time with his right eye in particular. Man, it's got to be tough to be a big man because you got to be wary of fingers and elbows, and I mean, they take a beating down there.
It's down low. That's the front court. That is just a dirty area.
That's a grown man's territory.
Yeah. You'll learn quickly, when you transition from level to level, and then you go try to out-rebound somebody, they play different.
Main for three. No good. Rebound taken by Combs. Fed ahead to Finkenbein. McCain behind the back to Roth. Roth trapped in the corner. Gets it inside to Dosick. Dosick making the catch. Back outside. Seaver, three. That's no good. And the rebound taken by Bradshaw of Marietta. Jaden Bradshaw. Cross half court. Now over to Sanford. Swung around to Lo Chow. Lo Chow will drive. Reverse layup. No good. Bradshaw offensive board, but he stepped out of bounds. Give the ball to Capital.
That's a good call by the ref. Just waiting for him to call that whistle. That one was a good call.
Alexander, Xavier, and Parrott back into the game for Marietta, who leads 55-39. 11-12 remaining here in our second half. McCain Finkenbein, 7 points, 3 rebounds. He shot 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from three-point land. He'll bring it across half court, and then it's a turnover for Capital.
That one. That'll be turnover number 8 here for Capital.
Maine will inbound it to Alexander. He'll take it across half court for Marietta. Alexander working on the right wing. Pass over to Maine. Now in the hands of Xavier. Xavier trying to get inside to Maine. Maine being defended by Roth. Maine step back jumper. No good. Rebound taken by Dosick. Finkenbein across half court. Finkenbein over to Dosick. Now in the hands of Combs. And no good. Dosick with the offensive board. Back outside. Roth, 3. No good. Rebound is taken by Marietta. Now it's poked away. Crawford. Slam. Oh, he missed it. He missed the slam, but the putback is good for Alexander.
That's one he's going to laugh about with his team. They're definitely going to clown him, but one that Capital wish they could have had back. Ryan Roth was wide open on the island.
Combs trying to dribble inside and gets pushed in the back, but there was no call. Roth, meantime, from the corner.
Splash!
Roth knocking it down.
It did look like a little double dribble, but
we'll take it. 57-42. Marietta still with the lead. 9:40 to play in the second half. Crawford down the lane, gets it to go. Xavier. Strong player Xavier is. Both he and Crawford.
He'll find his way to the hole.
59-42.
Surprisingly, that's only Xavier's first points of the game.
Guy came in here that averaged 11 points per game. Seaver. Count the...
It's a charge. They're calling it a charge.
And Seaver is down in a heap. Still hasn't gotten up from the floor. Now the medical staff for Capital being waved onto the floor. Seaver Rolling onto his back now. Now he sits up. Seaver, a sophomore out of Ottoville, Ohio, averaging 5.5 points per game, and now he'll be directed to the training area, just off the baseline here to our right. Hopefully he's okay. 9:21 left to play in the second half. Marietta with a 59-42 lead over Capital. And Marietta needs someone to inbound the basketball. It'll be Anderson that will volunteer his services. He'll get it into his point guard, Jack Alexander. Alexander will bring it across half court. He'll start at the top of the arc, passing inside to Anderson. Anderson surveying the defense. Back over to Parrott. Parrott on the right wing. Over to Anderson. Back to Parrott. Parrott, top of the arc. 15 to shoot for the Pioneers. Parrott passing off to Anderson. Anderson attempting to drive against Gerber, but no such luck. And it's tipped around. Turnover. McCain Finkenbein ahead to Combs. Combs will
Did that goaltending?
almost laid it up and in, but they will count the basket. As Xavier was trying to block it away for the Pioneers.
That was a good hustle by Xavier, but clearly goaltending. That was above the. It was coming down on the rim.
So add 2 points for Combs, who has 4 points now. 59-44. Marietta with the lead. 8:50 to play in the second half. Alexander over to Crawford. Now in the hands of Xavier. Xavier right wing. Guarded by Magerle. 15 to shoot for the Pioneers. Xavier trying to drive against Magerle, but Dom doing a good job defensively. Xavier will try a three now, and he'll swish it through.
Xavier is heating up.
62-44 in favor of the Pioneers. Xavier now with 7.
Yeah.
A turnover. Crawford keeps it in. Off the glass and in for Jack Alexander.
That was easy. We're looking at a 20-point. How did we? It was just single digits, and now they are back up.
Marietta with a big run here as they have pushed their lead to 20 with under 8 minutes to play in the second half. Magerle, reverse layup is good.
That was a nice reverse right there by Magerle.
Dom Magerle now with 11 points on the night. Xavier inside to Crawford, and now a foul is going to be called. Looks like the foul is going to go against Griffin Dosick. That's his second. Team's 5th.
So one more, and then they'll be in the bonus.
Roth and Iyink into the game for the Comets. Alexander will get it in to Willoughby. Willoughby to Parrott for 3. No good. Tipped around. Gerber finally grabs it for Capital. To Roth. Roth inside to Dosick. Dosick with a little head fake. Trying to dribble inside to Iyink. Iyink with a little shimmy. Iyink. Twisting, turning, jumper. No good. Rebound taken by Crawford of Marietta. 64-46. Pioneers with the big lead. 7:12 remaining here in the second half. And Willoughby not able to finish off with a nice pass by Crawford. Dosick to Roth. Now to Magerle. To Iyink. Gerber inside. Dosick back outside. Iyink for 3. No good. Rebound by Willoughby. Alexander will now bring it across the timeline as Marietta will try to slow things up here a little bit. Parrott on the right wing. Over to Xavier. Xavier, jumper from the right point, and that is no good. Rebound taken by Dosick.
Look at that one to fall.
Roth to Dom for 3. Splash! Dom Magerle. 14 points for the sophomore from Akron, Ohio. Dom has had himself a nice game tonight.
Yesterday was the day of love, but he's having a lovely day on the court.
64-49, Marietta with the lead. 6:10 left to play here in the second half. Alexander driving in, and a foul looks like will go against Dosick. That will indeed be the call as Dosick racks up his 3rd foul of the night. Team 6. So Jack Alexander, a junior out of Oak Harbor, Ohio, only measures at 5'10". As the shot is up, and that's no good. Sanford and Wagonfield check in for Marietta. And meantime, McCain Finkenbein and Carter Combs back in for the Comets. One more free throw attempt upcoming here for Jack Alexander, who shoots 71% from the foul line this season.
Not too shabby.
It is up, and it is good. 65-49. Marietta with the lead as we're just about to hit 6 minutes to go here in the first half. Finkenbein to Seaver for three. Seaver knocking it down. 65-52. 5:52 remaining in the second half. Wagonfield for three.
Wow, that was a pass from Sanford. I just have to say, that was a phenomenal fake mid-air, dishing out to his big man for a big three.
Sanford making plays with his shooting and his passing this half. 68-48 now. Marietta in charge with 5.5 to play here in the second half. Combs for three. That's no good. Dom Magerle with the offensive board. Inside to Nixon. Nixon back outside. Seaver for three. That's too long. Rebound taken by Marietta. Alexander will take his time, bringing it across half court. Now in the hands of Sanford. Sanford for three, and he knocks it down.
That's 21. That's 21 for Sanford tonight.
David Sanford has been lighting it up from three tonight. He's now 3 of 5 from downtown. Nixon trying to make the bucket, but that's no good. Rebound taken by Marietta. 4:48 to play in the second half. Marietta 71, Capital 52. Sanford inside to Willoughby. Willoughby, couple power dribbles, shot up and good.
That's just strength down low. That's strength right there for Willoughby.
Sami Willoughby, senior out of Groveport, Ohio. Former Reynoldsburg Pirate. So he's a little bit of a local kid around here in Central Ohio. Nixon, twisting, turning, and a foul will be called against Wagonfield. His third. Team's third. Or team's fifth, excuse me. So Alexander will exit for Marietta. And coming in for the Pioneers is Torin Lochow. And Sanford almost stealing it. He did force the steal as Willoughby was able to come up with it. Boy, this second half has just been terrific by David Sanford.
He's coming in here to have a nice little show of his own, and he's doing his thing.
Sanford trying to size up Dom Magerle here defensively. Sanford will get a screen. Sanford thought about a step-back three, trying to get inside to Willoughby. Willoughby gathers, has it knocked away, and then a foul is called on the inside against Capital.
Let's see what they call that on Combs.
And now there's a conference between a couple of our officials. Combs will be hit with the foul. Team 7th.
That's his first foul.
So Willoughby measures at 6'3", so he probably has a lot of family in attendance here tonight. As the free throw is no good. Mentioned that he went to Reynoldsburg High School over in Groveport. As Nixon checks out. Dosick back in for the Comets. One more free throw attempt for Willoughby. Shot is up and good.
Willoughby, he's got 6 on the night.
74-52. Marietta with the lead. 3:48 to play here in the second half. Inside to Seaver. Jumper, good.
That's fadeaway.
74-54. Marietta with the commanding lead. A little over 3.5 to play here in the second half. Bradshaw over to Maine. To Lochow. Lochow to Maine. Maine trying to drive against Seaver. Hoists a tough shot and gets it to rattle home.
Just a lucky roll. Marietta has just not took their foot off the pedal this entire game.
76 points for Marietta, right around their season average. Again, this is a team that in years past we're used to seeing them in the high 80s, low 90s on a nightly basis. So right there at the season average. Ball tipped around. Dosick able to finish. 76-56 now in favor of Marietta. 2:40 to play. And it looks like John Vanderwall is getting ready to empty his bench here at the next available moment. Lo Chow over to Sanford. 13 to shoot for the Pioneers. Sanford being guarded by Combs. He'll get a little bit of a screen. Sanford, tough jumper. That's no good on the rebound taken by Seaver.
Sanford just having a homecoming.
Combs able to finish on the other end. Great pass to Combs. 76-58. 2:05 to play in the second half. And now a rolling timeout. This will allow both teams to empty their benches. Coming on for Capital will be Nate Gerber, Justin Nixon, and Ryan Roth. Brandon Iink will also be out there on the floor. Meanwhile, for Marietta, Carter McCorkle, Ryan McGill is out there along with Jake Singleton and Danny Flood. And then finally, Nick Hart. 1:53 remaining in the second half. Marietta 76, Capital 58 as the foul will go against Alex Iink, his third. Team's eighth. So this will result in free throws for Danny Flood. He's a freshman. He attended Buckeye High School over in Valley City, Ohio, as the free throw is missed, no good. Gerber grabs the board for Capital. Finkenbein to Gerber, over to Roth. Now over to Gerber for three, and it's knocked down by Nate.
Big man got some shot.
Marietta 76, Capital 61. About a minute and a half remaining in this game. Nick Hart to Singleton, and Nick Singleton, the freshman from Senecaville, Ohio, former Meadowbrook High School product. He'll get on the stat sheet tonight. Good for him. And poked away. Here comes Singleton again, and Singleton will lay it up and in.
You can just see his bench was hoping for him to take a little bit of flight.
80-61 in favor of Marietta. Under a minute to play. Gerber will hoist a three and knock it down.
Big man.
80-64. 55 seconds and counting. Marietta on its way to another victory as the three-pointer's way off the mark by Nick Hart, sophomore out of Marietta. Attended Fort Fry High School down there along the Ohio River. Iink near the corner. Inside. And Gerber. Count the bucket and a foul.
He's coming off the bench in here.
A nice little flurry here for Nate Gerber, as the foul will go against Danny Flood. Gerber, a junior out of Laddie, Ohio. He's had to deal with his fair share of injuries this season. Been coming off the bench as he misses the free throw. 80-66. Now a 3-second differential between shot clock and game clock. 25 seconds and counting. Hart, jumper, and swishes through for the sophomore from Marietta.
Well, I could give you the closing score for the women's matchup. It's not going to look pretty as well. They finished that one 35-60. Marietta taking that one.
7 seconds, 6 seconds. Inside, Nixon finishes at the hoop. Marietta now will dribble out the clock. And that's that here at the Capital Center. Your final score, Marietta 82, Capital 68. When we come back, we'll examine the final stats and put a bow on this one. Again, the final score, Marietta 82, Capital 68. This has been a presentation of Capital Comets men's basketball on athletics.capital.edu. A final score from the Capital Center tonight as the Comets fall to Marietta 82-68 alongside Jonathan Brown. I'm Charlie Danis. Want to get you updated with a couple of scores around the OAC before we examine the statistics here. Heidelberg leading Ohio Northern 66-51 with a little over 4 minutes to play in the second half. An upset could be brewing in the OAC. John Carroll, who has had a fantastic year to this point, trailing Baldwin Wallace 82-69 with a little over 7 minutes to go in the second half of that one.
They had to change some things up right now. I know John Carroll holds the number 1 spot in the OAC, but a game right behind them is Mount Union.
And the team, as you just mentioned them, the team hoping that John Carroll gets knocked off tonight is Mount Union. With a John Carroll loss and a Mount Union win, the Purple Raiders would assume that number 1 spot in the OAC standings. So I wanted to check out those scores for you real quick. Now let's get to the statistics of this game. We begin with the team statistics. Marietta shooting 52% from the field. Capital shooting 40%. Three-point land. Marietta shooting 8 of 22 from downtown, good for 36%. Capital, meantime, 7 of 27, good for only 26%. Free throws. Capital 11 of 16, good for 69%. Marietta 8 of 12, good for 67%. The Pioneers end up out-rebounding the Comets 39-31 in this one. Other team statistics of note. Capital had double the assists that Marietta had tonight, 18-9 in favor of the Comets. Turnovers just about even. Capital 12, Marietta 11. Bench points, boy, Marietta got helped out big time by one guy in particular off the bench. We'll get to him in just a moment. But the bench points definitely in favor of the Pioneers, 49-24. Blocks, Capital 2, Marietta 1. Fast break points, Capital 8, Marietta 6. Steals, 5 apiece for each team. Points off turnovers, Capital 14, Marietta 11. Points in the paint, Marietta 36, Capital 34. Second chance points, Marietta 11, Capital 2. And that's about it for team statistics. Now on to the individual statistics. And, Jonathan, you might want to start with a guy that used to play here at Capital.
I'm gonna give him the last. No, I'm gonna start off with the man who had the hot hand in the first half and caught our attention. Ethan Anderson. He finished off second leading scorer for the Pioneers with 12 points, 4 of 7 from the field, getting most of his points from the charity stripe, going 4 or 5 from there. But this man right here, this was a little personal for this individual right here. He had a nice little homecoming back here against the team on which he played his first 2 seasons with Capital. David Sanford heated up in this second half, and boy, he had a step back shot that was heard around the arena here tonight. He finished with 21 points, 8 of 12 from the court here, 3 of 5 from behind the arc. And I think that's just the best way to put it. That's a homecoming performance, and he definitely showed Capital what they missed out on. And their leading rebounder for the Pioneers, that goes to none other than, where is his name? Frank Wagenfield. He led the team with 5 rebounds. Behind him, Crawford, Parrott, Willowbow, Bradshaw had 4 of their own. You're pointing out a few steals here. 5 players had 1 steal, and the only player to have a block party for the Pioneers, Ethan Anderson. Taking a look at Capital, yesterday was a day of love, but this man had a lovely day. 14 points. Don Megerly tried his best here, 4 of 7, 2 of 3 from behind the arc. Perfect from the free throw line. Behind him, Nate Gerber with 10 points coming off the bench. 4 of 10, 2 of 4 from behind the arc, and leading the rest. Everybody kind of had their fair share. Everybody who played. Dosick, Combs, Nixon, Fickenby, Seaver, and Roth all have 5 points or more in this matchup. Leading rebounder for Capital in this goes to Justin Nixon and Ryan Seaver with 5 apiece. Combs and Dosick have 4 of their own. Leading assist here, Carter Combs was able to do his fair share of spreading the ball around. 5 assists, leads the team. Fickenby with 4 right behind him. 2 steals for Combs, and the block party man himself, he not had 1. He had 2 for Justin Nixon.
With the win tonight, Marietta improves to 15-9 overall, 10-7 within OAC play. They strengthen their chances of hosting a game at the beginning of the OAC tournament. Meantime, for Capital, with the loss, they fall to 11-13 overall, 7-10 within OAC play. Only 1 game remaining in the regular season. That will be coming on Saturday afternoon when the Comets play host to the Yellow Jackets of Baldwin-Wallace. That game is scheduled for a 2 o'clock tip. We'll get things started with a short pregame show beginning at 1:50 p.m. that afternoon. And we'll be on the call here at the Capital Center as well. For my broadcast partner, Jonathan Brown, this is Charlie Daniels saying one final time. The final score tonight from the Capital Center, Marietta 82, Capital 68. So long and good night from Bexley, Ohio.